Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, Taurus season begins. We're going to give you an entire overview of everything that is to come so you know what you can expect. But in case you missed it, last week we had the full moon in Libra, Venus retrograde came to an end, and we had Saturn conjunct the North Node. So if you want to know more about those, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything that you need to know about the new moon in Taurus and how it affects you.
Now, there are two transits that do happen this week that happen technically before Taurus season begins. So we will tell you a little bit more about Mercury re-entering Aries, Mars re-entering Leo, the Sun in Taurus, and Uranus sextile the North Node now in a little bit more depth since they're happening first. But everything else, such as the new moon in Taurus, full moon in Scorpio, Venus re-entering Aries, Mercury in Taurus, Pluto retrograde, and Jupiter square the North Node. We'll tell you a little bit about them now, but you can expect them to have their own episodes in the weeks to come with more detail. And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So two things that happen this week before Taurus season begins that kind of set the stage for Taurus season. Starts off with Mercury re-entering Aries. This happens on April 16th at 2:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. And yes, that could also be April 15th if you're in a different time zone. What you need to know. Mercury was in Aries before. We actually have an episode on it that we did a while back when Mercury entered Aries for the first time. The retrograde ended and now Mercury is back into Aries, bringing you a more direct and assertive energy when it comes to how you communicate yourself. This is a good transit typically for taking on more leadership qualities and speaking your mind.
There are a few key dates to pay attention to while Mercury is direct in Aries. The first one is on April 17th, where Mercury will be conjunct Neptune. This can bring about a very dreamy energy, but it also can lead to some miscommunication. So even though the retrograde is over, do be mindful of speaking with clarity on this day. It also can heighten your intuition and help you to embrace your creative side. On April 20th, Mercury will sextile Pluto, which is a great day for deep diving into your thoughts and reflecting. And then finally, on May 5th, Mercury will be sextile Jupiter, which is another day to be having really bold conversations and also could be used for manifesting because Jupiter is a very positive and optimistic energy.
The next thing that happens this week, setting the stage for Taurus season, and the last thing that happens before Taurus season begins, is Mars re-entering Leo. This is on April 18th at 12:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that could be April 17th if you're in a different time zone. Something you should know is that Mars was previously in Leo. We had an episode on this. I believe it was back in 2024 prior to the retrograde. Mars was retrograde in Leo, retrograded into Cancer, Mars stationed direct in Cancer, and now is moving back into Leo again. This can be a very powerful time for pursuing your personal goals, for taking on more leadership roles, and also prioritizing your creative projects. Leo is a very confident energy, and Mars is all about how we take action. So this is a time for you to be a little bit more bold than usual.
And again, there are a couple key dates to pay attention to while Mars is in Leo. The first one is April 19th. Mars will be trine Neptune. This is a good day to follow your passions and work towards things that are very meaningful to you. Then on April 26th, Mars will be opposite Pluto. This is a more intense energy and can bring up deep hidden emotions. And then lastly, on June 15th, Mars will be square Uranus. This does bring a very unpredictable energy, and there might be some sudden changes going on in your life. So just remember to be flexible and true to yourself.
And now for Taurus season. Taurus season begins when the sun enters Taurus on April 19th at 3:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you during Taurus season, we take on some of the Taurus qualities. So you might notice in your life you're more focused on stability, security, and the things that make you feel good and comfortable. This is a really good time for grounding your energy, being patient, and allowing things to unfold at the right pace without rushing. You can expect also to be more focused on the practical side of things and feel more inclined to create something that is lasting rather than something that is fleeting.
What you can expect: while the sun's in Taurus, you're going to be more focused on your finances and also potentially your physical items. As you're spring cleaning, this could be a time to declutter and to focus on letting go of things that have already served their purpose so that you can create space and care for the things that are really meaningful to you.
There are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects the sun will make as it moves through Taurus. Starting off on April 20th, the sun will square Mars, which can bring some tension where you might feel like you want to act on things, but also need to slow down and take things at a steady pace. So there can be some frustration when it comes to getting things done.
And then on April 23rd, the sun will be square Pluto. This could be a day of deep personal transformation. So on this day, it's really important to pay attention to the things that come up so that you can work to let go of things that no longer serve you and heal from your past.
Then on May 14th, the sun will sextile the North Node, which can be a good day for moving in alignment with things that feel right for you. So there can be some more opportunities for growth and pursuing a more fulfilling path.
And then on May 17th, the sun will be conjunct Uranus. This is another day to expect the unexpected. There might be sudden changes or shifts in energy on this day, especially when it comes to your identity and how you express yourself.
And then lastly, on May 20th, the sun will sextile Saturn, making this a really good day for pursuing long-term goals and putting in some hard work. The next thing that happens during Taurus season is an aspect. Uranus will sextile the North Node. This happens on April 19th at 11:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know, this is an outer planet aspect that might be more felt on a societal level, but it's one that will encourage you to make some changes that feel more aligned with your path in life. This can be a time for you to embrace new ways of thinking and being, especially when it comes to achieving your long-term goals.
Something you should know is that this day can bring about sudden inspiration or insights that can encourage you to make bold moves or make changes as you're working towards your goals.
Now, everything else we're about to mention will happen in the weeks to come. We'll still talk about them now, but you can expect them to all have their own episodes as they get closer. Starting off with the new moon in Taurus. This happens on April 27th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you. New moons are new beginnings, and they are powerful times for setting intentions. And since this is happening in the sign of Taurus, these will be around Taurus themes of self-worth, building a stable foundation, or even finances might come up. It's a time where we are starting to plant those seeds for more long-term goals, especially ones that are more connected to your stability.
What you need to know is that this new moon will be square both Mars and Pluto, which can create some tension as you are trying to set new goals that move you towards comfort and stability.
The next thing that happens is Venus re-entering Aries on April 30th at 1:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you can expect with Venus re-entering Aries is a more energetic shift when it comes to your relationships, where you might feel a little bit more direct or bold with how you express yourself with others. So this is typically a time where you want to start to take action on what you truly want in your life.
Something you might not know is that right before Venus enters Aries, it will conjunct Neptune, which is really going to soften some of this energy and bring about a more idealistic and dreamy approach to your relationships with others and also your creativity.
The next thing that happens during Taurus season is Pluto stationing retrograde in Aquarius on May 4th at 11:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know is this retrograde can encourage some deep reflection on the structures in your life that might be going through some transformation. So it's definitely a time to be reassessing your role that you play in the groups around you and what your connection is to some of the more collective energies going on in the world.
How this affects you. You might feel like this is a time to really reflect and revisit past experiences or beliefs that you're still holding on to. It also could be a time to examine the different dynamics of things going on in your life or at work. It's really all about reflecting on things going on in your personal life so that you can make changes in the future.
The next thing that happens during Taurus season is Mercury entering Taurus on May 10th at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Something you should know is that this will bring a bit more of a slower, but at the same time more deliberate pace when it comes to how you're communicating, thinking before speaking, and taking the time to have more thorough, grounded conversations that are more focused on practical matters and also long-term stability.
What you can expect, there are many aspects that Mercury will make, including a square to Pluto and Mars, which will again enhance that reflective energy and also ask you to look within yourself. There also will be a conjunction to Uranus, which will ask you to think outside of the box and to explore new ideas.
Then we have the full moon in Scorpio on May 12th at 12:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you, full moons are times of releasing and letting go of things that no longer serve you so you can come into greater balance. Since this is in the sign of Scorpio, which is a more deep and transformative energy, you might be asked to go to the root of things and figure out where you're feeling stuck so you can heal and move forward.
Something you might not know is that the full moon will have an aspect to Uranus. Because Uranus is really good at sudden changes, this can really help you to let go of anything that needs to be let go of very quickly and easily, which is really helpful considering this full moon is in a fixed sign and fixed signs tend to want to keep things staying the same.
And then lastly, we close out Taurus season with Jupiter square the North Node. This is on May 15th at 7:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you can expect with this aspect is there to be some challenges when it comes to pursuing your purpose. You might feel conflicted where on one hand you're looking to expand, learn, and try new things, but at the same time what you're looking to experience and explore might not fully align with what you feel is your deeper calling in life.
Something you might not know is that even though squares can be frustrating, that tension can really inspire you to grow and seek out new opportunities. So just keep in mind that this could be a time where you are reassessing your path and making adjustments that are right for you.
And that is it for this week's episode. Just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about the new moon in Taurus. So if you want to know more about that, then make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast, you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.